got to the point where I was feeling so sure of myself. I'm like, no, I don't care what people think. I'm going to put this out there, and if you don't like it, then don't look.
Hi guys, welcome back to Inner Academic with Kiro. Today we'll be chatting to Greta from Colours of Noir, and she designs and makes her own t-shirts. So we'll be talking to her about how she started her business and what she's got planned for the future. So thanks so much for joining us today, Greta. Much appreciated. Really looking forward to our conversation. So
thank you for having me.
No problem. So I think, I'm not sure how long I've followed your... When did your account start, actually, for Colours of Noir?
So it's easy date to remember because it officially launched the first thing in January. So the last day of December, I was kind of like telling everyone that there's something happening. And then it was like on the 5th of January, the first photo that I posted.
Yeah, I was really excited when I saw the first post where it says coming soon. I was thinking, what on earth is this girl doing? Because obviously I've known you for a couple of years, I want to say.
I think so, yeah.
But I didn't realize that you were that creative. I was actually shocked. I was not expecting it. I was like, I have no idea what this girl is doing. I wonder what this is all about. And then when you posted the photos of the art you've done, I was like, whoa, Greta is actually so talented. So that was a really nice surprise. So
I really appreciate that.
When did that all begin? When have you always been creative, or is it something that you found later on in life?
Yeah, so this is something I was always quite embarrassed telling people. But when I was a kid, our parents told me and my brother that they're no longer paying TV license, and we had no TV.
Just like that.
We were always the odd ones out. Even to this day, I find it standing out of the crowd is good, right? But this was one of the things that all kids used to talk about, these latest things that they saw last night or whatever, and I would always be like, So obviously I needed to find myself how to occupy my time somehow. And I used to love all of this artsy fartsy craftsy stuff. So yeah, since I was a kid, I just used to spend a lot of my time closed off in my room working on little projects. And I always hate doing the same thing more than once. I really don't like knowing that if I've tried something with clay and I've done a little bit of something, I'm like, I've done that now, I want to move on, I want to do something else. So I'll pick up paintbrush or chalk or something. I like to change stuff around,
So do you not have a specific thing that you use, or are you quite fluid when it comes to painting or drawing or clay and things like that?
Yeah, no. So as time has gone on, I feel like I started to use a lot less of the bits and pieces, plastics and gems and clay. I've left that. The inner child has kind of grown up, so now I definitely do more of just the basic stuff. I went through a little phase where I just really enjoyed doing just with biro pen, just simple pen, and that the idea of that always used to scare me, because I always used to think if you make a mistake, there's no going back.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but when I started to try it and do it, I realized that each mistake ends up turning into something that you didn't expect it to turn into. So it kind of broadens the art and makes it more unique, So yeah, mistakes are always welcome. You see a little splatter there, cover it
up. So what made you decide to go from just having it art as a hobby to making it into a business? How was that journey?
So, as everyone knows, obviously, I don't want to repeat the same thing that loads of people who have come out from the woodworks have been saying. Quarantine has obviously given us a lot more time to spend on ourselves, but I've always thought I really enjoy doing things for myself. I really enjoy coming up with whatever, drawing in a book. But I feel like it's a bit of a shame for the stuff to then just sit there in a book on a shelf. That it's a bit, it feels like a bit pointless. Like, I know that it shouldn't feel like that, because art should just be a way for you to, I don't know, express yourself, or just spend time doing it for you for no reason, right? But yeah, it kind of felt a bit like it started to feel a little bit pointless. I was like, I don't like that aspect of it. So I thought, why not try and put it out maybe into the public so others can enjoy it too. So yeah, with having more time on my hands, I thought, let's just see how it goes. I'm not losing out on anything. I know I'm actually like spending my time usefully. I'm not gonna come out a year later and be like, oh, I've just spent a year watching TV or something.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because I'm the same as you actually, and I didn't realize it until I started like actually putting my stuff out there, and then I realized how nice it feels for other people to see what you do. Because it's true, like obviously you enjoy doing it for yourself and by yourself, but it's also nice to share that with other people. So I fully get that as well. So
Definitely.
with your clothing, do you think you will expand it to so at the moment, is it just t-shirts that you're doing?
So yeah, at the moment it's just t-shirts. I have a few jumpers that they're like plain
Like
blank
future plans?
blank canvases. Yeah. um that's another thing actually. Like I mentioned with like sharing it out into the public. Having art on a canvas, like, it's cool, but me enjoying art, me enjoying doing art, and being able to appreciate it. Like, if I go out and I see something on a wall, very often I'll stand back and like take it in for a few moments. But the idea came to me that actually it would be even nicer to be able to like make use out of it. So like a piece of clothing, you can just wear it, and it's art as well, so you're like getting a double use out of it. But yeah, so the idea is to kind of like see where this goes. I know myself quite well, and I know that quite often I'll get a bright idea and then I'll try it and I'm like, yeah, I'm bored now. But I'm really hoping that that's not going to happen with this, and so far it's been all right. After like the first set of designs I let out, I kind of forgot that I should be designing further or thinking up of new things. So over the last week or so, I've actually come up with something that's in the works. But hopefully in the future, it will not just be t-shirts. But I can't promise anything yet. We'll have to see where it goes.
Yeah, and that's cool. I think that's a nice thing with starting a business, a creative one, is that it can literally go anywhere. So it's like always, you can always update it, you can find different avenues, you can collaborate with people. So it's quite exciting, because it might start off one way and then by the end of this year it could be in a different place. So it'll be interesting to see like where it goes.
Definitely, yeah. A few people have said to me actually that the more you do this, the more you'll discover your own style. Um, there's this artist that I follow who are obsessed with his work. I don't know if you want me to.
Yeah, say his name. We'll put his link in the in the description.
Yeah, I just feel so inspired by his work. I never know how to pronounce his name because I think he's Kurdish. But okay, it's Tishk Barzanji. Basically, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
His work really inspires me, and it's really interesting because if you scroll down to the start of his page, he started off doing something completely different, and the style that he's got going on now, I feel like it's just so different.
So what sort of stuff from his work inspires you specifically?
So the thing that really, actually, this is something I picked up from him, is underneath each one of his pieces of art, he then writes a poem to go with the piece of art. And that's kind of how I started off my page as well. So I have a specific t-shirt, and with each t-shirt I have a small bit of written poetry that goes with it as well. Yeah, cool. Which, yeah, I actually picked that up from him. I didn't even realize until you asked.
That's really cool. I think it's good to find inspiration and like use things that you love about what people do. I think something that some people struggle with. Well, I think a lot of creators struggle with actually is because now we've got so much social media and like Pinterest, for example, you can gain so much ideas from there. Is it ever a worry for you that you can lose yourself in looking at too much inspiration?
Oh, that's a good question. My cousin, she's really artistic as well. She does everything. She dances, and she finished acting school and so on and so on. And she told me about this book. And I can't remember the title of it, but the whole concept of the idea of that was that basically art is stealing, and it's okay to understand that art is stealing. You can steal it just as long as you kind of make it your own and you don't copy it exact. Then it's it's just like growing, you know. It's moving on, it's inspiring. So yeah, I found that quite interesting. And I don't see anything wrong with liking an idea as to what somebody's done and thinking, oh, I can do that with my own twist on it.
100%.
Yeah, personally, I don't see nothing wrong with that. And then as you see society, it grows, you know, so you'll see that phase went past and now people are doing something different. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to be able to have so much inspiration and just appreciate other people's artwork. It's a compliment if someone steals what you're doing.
True. It's funny you say that because I think it was in a podcast where I heard this, but they said that there is no new ideas anymore. Like, it's impossible. So everything that you do is inspired by something or someone, or so. But like you said, it's just taking those inspirations and making it your own, because it is quite hard to try and think, oh, how could I make this like brand new? But it's not necessarily you need it to be brand new. It's just you want it to make it unique to you and like put your stamp on it, like you said. So that's quite interesting. I like that. So I've been asking everyone that's come on the question of how has the careerdemic influenced you? So you sort of touched on it a little bit, but obviously during 2020 especially, we're all kicked off. How did seeing other people create new businesses and stuff affect you? But also, how did being in lockdown affect you? Like, did it have a negative effect, positive effect?
So my idea for the whole t-shirt thing kind of came just before the pandemic. So there was a party that we went to, and I was thinking about what to wear, and I painted Erica Badu on a t-shirt. And I was like, I'm gonna wear that because it kind of in my head matched the whole vibe of the party. So once that finished, I showed it to my friend and she was like, oh, did you sell these? And I was like, no, just for fun. Like I said, I've always been arty. I always want to try bits and pieces, different things. And then after that, I did another little thing for another friend, and someone else came back to me, like a different person, and asked me, oh, are you selling this? And I was like, no. But then the idea was like already planted in my brain. If people have already been asking me, am I selling this? Maybe it would be worth to try. So the whole pandemic was just an encouragement to try and make sure that I'm using my time wisely. Because like I said, I could honestly have just spent the whole year just watching everything on Netflix. I could have easily done that. But I didn't want to be that person to then look back and think, I'm in my mid-20s and I've literally done nothing with it. So the pandemic has been just fantastic. I know that sounds bad, it sounds awful, and I mean it's not a good thing that people are suffering from it. That's not the part that I'm enjoying, but I'm definitely enjoying spending time with myself, seeing what I can come up with, seeing that I just have so much time for myself. I've still managed to work during this time as well, so I don't feel like I'm suffering in any kind of way.
I think that's so good. Yeah, I think a lot of people have had different experiences during this pandemic, but I think it's good that you saw that as an opportunity to actually start doing something that you've wanted to do or you thought about doing. But it's also interesting how it seems to be quite common for people who are creative, they just do things that they love for fun, and then it takes someone else to be like, you know, you're really good at this, like you could sell this or you could make this into a business. But it's quite cool that it started off just by you wanting to wear your own clothes that you've designed, and then other people are like, oh, that looks sick, like, are you selling that? So it's quite cool to hear that it started very organically, rather than it wasn't necessarily like a set in stone plan, I'm gonna sell clothes. It was just, you're just talented and people saw it.
Thank you. Yeah, I never saw it like that, but yeah, it actually makes me love this whole process even more, to know that it didn't come from a dark place.
Cool. Yeah. So what lessons have you learned from this process?
So that's a really interesting question, actually. Because so a few years ago, I think everyone's heard about this whole minimalism hype. Yeah, so a part of me really wants to be a minimalist and just get rid of everything, but then the creative person in me is like, oh, but there's so many things I want to try, so then I end up accumulating stuff. But there's one really interesting thing that I found. So, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's a show on Netflix about minimalism. I think it's literally called Minimalism. But basically, in that film, there's a woman who speaks about this book called The Happiness Track. So I actually have it here in front of me. It's called The Happiness Track, and it's by Emma Zapala. And there's a little section that I kind of want to read, because it specifically speaks about the way people think and how people are different. So the lesson that I would have learned, or something that I would want to apply further in just who I am, is our way of thinking. So there's a section that talks about divergent thinking and convergent thinking, and it says divergent thinking refers to the ability to come up with diverse solutions to a problem, and it's basically the stream of consciousness brainstorming. Some of the solutions you come up with may not help solve your problem, but unexpected ideas and connections between concepts emerge that can inadvertently lead to an innovative solution, which I think is really interesting. And then it talks about convergent thinking being people who are, so it says people in general are becoming less able to think creatively, and they are less tolerant of creativity and creative people. And then it goes on to kind of explain what the convergent thinking is, which is basically kind of a linear thinking skill where we're taught in schools, such as memory and reasoning. So while I was reading this book, it really inspired me to try and bring out more of that creativity, because we live in a system and a society where everything is so logical, or kids are taught to, you know, learn facts and go to university. And I know that from some of my really creative friends, their parents were just so confused with the fact that they have creative jobs, and it just doesn't seem like a thing that's okay. But from this book and from other things that I've heard and seen, is creative people have a different way of living life. And the main thing I would have learned from this whole situation is to just kind of stick with what you're doing and try to think outside of the box. And if you're trying to be creative and trying to I don't know, learn new skills and do new things, there are always going to be people who look at you and maybe not understand what you're doing and what you're going through and think, oh, what, you think that's a real job? But just keep going, because you're accessing a different part of your brain that not everybody can access. So yeah, I think personally that's something that, like, it really inspires me to continue in growing and trying to explore other parts of creativity. And I'm hoping as well for the future to be able to come up with something, like you said, there's nothing new under the sun, right? There's nothing that people haven't already created. But I'm really hoping that the more I try to think outside of the box, the more it will give me the ability to actually come up with something that is maybe not necessarily new, but even if it's like a combination of things, to come up with something so creative that I enjoy it so much, that it can help the business grow and just become something, you know. I don't know what that thing is yet. If I just continue with it, yeah.
Thanks so much for reading that little part out of the book. That's actually really, really interesting. That's a really nice way to actually wrap up this video. That was so insightful. Thanks so much for sharing that. And I'm really excited to see like where your business is going to go this year. I feel like you've got a lot of ideas, and we're waiting to see them just unravel this year. So
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's really been a pleasure. I know that you're one of those people who have really good taste and style, and with your photography, with your business as well. Like honestly, I look at your pictures. I've shown my mum just before this video. I was like, "Mum, you gotta see this." So talented as well. So yeah.
oh my god, oh that's so kind of you. Thank you. Oh my days. I'm gonna link all your information in the description bar below so everyone can follow you and see your amazing work. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much again for coming.
My pleasure.
Speak to you soon.
Yeah, the thing I keep hearing from like every corner, every person, every successful business or whatever is how important it is to be regular. And looking at what you've put out so far, it looks so professional. I wouldn't have a shadow of doubt in my mind that you're definitely going to succeed and make it bigger and make it grow, like 1000%.
Oh my god, I'm actually
for
so
sure. But I've said to multiple people, if ever photography or anything has come up to conversation, I think I've mentioned it to you before, that if I was getting married anytime down the line, 100% I would pick you to be my photographer. And I know quite a few photographers, like not even trying to like gas you up or anything, but I'm just being honest. So I think that's the thing that I know I'm going to struggle with in the future with my personal thing. But the consistency, I feel like it's difficult to be able to just continuously be like putting stuff out there, because like you said, you can have moments in your life where you're so busy that you're just not doing it, and then all of a sudden things get quiet, or you just get really inspired and then you just have like a huge burst of creativity. But at the same time, I don't feel like that's something that we should view negatively, because it's a really good way of keeping balance and knowing that I can relax if I want to, because this is my business, I'm in control. But knowing if you want to succeed and you want to make it grow and you want it to be big, then you know you're going to have to be consistent with it. So you have to sometimes kick yourself in the butt a bit and be like, come on, good, you know you want to.
It's so true. It's exciting though. I think it's exciting having your own business, but also seeing like other people like, around your age that have businesses as well. So I feel like at one point having a business was like just something people didn't really think about. Like it was just you just get a job and that's it. But I think a lot of people now are. I think it's also to do with the pandemic as well. So a lot of people lost jobs as well. So people had to like think on their feet and think of what they could do. So it's quite cool, like seeing so many people just starting businesses up, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen so many people, people who I don't even know, but I know are friends of my friends who've started stuff up and followed me, and it's like sewing or knitting or I don't know. And I'm looking at these pages and I'm like, why are you looking more professional than me, please? You're not even trying to sell. Can you not?
So funny.
But yeah, that's another thing with these t-shirts. I kind of thought to myself, even if this doesn't become like super successful and you know I end up doing it for like a year, or I do it for a bit and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not trying to make like tons of money out here, because I have enough to suffice. Like I have enough, I'm working enough to be able to get what I live with, like it's fine. But just knowing that the time and the effort that I'm putting into pieces of art that other people can enjoy, and basically the cost of it is covering the supplies of, like, you know, the t-shirts, the paint, the packaging, blah, 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 to know that I'm able to share a bit of what I'm doing and to not have to make it like money based.
Yeah,
That's
I
like
think
that's
that's
another
good.
max thing.
I think that's good to like definitely at least start it like that, because obviously it'll get to a point where like more people like it, more people be sharing it, and then you can get to a point where you can up the prices and stuff like that. But I think to have the mindset of not thinking of the money is good, because I feel like it keeps the authenticity, or like it keeps the quality, because you're doing it because you love it. It's not because, oh, I need to earn the money because I'm relying on it, or I want to just make a lot of money. It's I actually just really enjoy doing this.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a good point. 'Cause I think yeah, I feel like for a few people that I've spoken to, like in the photography industry, when they're starting out, some might straight away think, oh, how much should I charge? Like, how much am I going to earn? Da, da, da. And I'm like, before you even think about how much you're charging or earning, you need to think about like the work, like, and your portfolio, and just practicing your craft, because you can't just jump from like the beginning up till, do you know what I mean? You can't, it's, you have to like go through the process, but also enjoy the process. Like, there's no need to try and rush to get to the finish line of earning loads of money, when it's like, just enjoy it. It's creative. So if you love what you do, it doesn't really matter. And
Yeah,
also it will
no,
show as well.
definitely, definitely. If you do it with the right motives, the actual product has a complete different feel to it as well. I feel like when it comes to creativity, everything that you're kind of thinking and feeling ends up being passed out on that work. If it's music, you can feel what that person is feeling when creating. If it's photography, if it's art, like that, the energies and the emotions of the person are just passed on to whatever it is that you create, right? So if you're doing it with the motives of money, like that's gonna shine through. But if you're doing it with the motives of the fact that, oh, I just love this, then that's going to shine through as well. So if you're doing it for yourself, your work is going to be better. Yeah, like you said at the start, especially, you have to just figure out who you are and what you're doing first,
Because it all
and
takes
then
time. It
grow.
takes so much time to actually know like what your style is and what you actually really enjoy, and where you see the business going and stuff. Because even like, I think I was saying before that when it came to like doing the branding, I had originally got that designed from like a friend. I knew at some point I would like to do it myself, because I just like to try new things. I've never done what do you call it, logo design or whatever, or even used Adobe Illustrator before. But I was like, oh, we've got YouTube, I can work it out.
Yeah.
So it was quite like exciting, 'cause I knew that that's something I would like to do at some point. So at the time it was just like, I want to just start this and get it out there. And then thankfully now it got to the point where I was able to just have time to actually design it myself. But it's just enjoying the process, like every little step you can just find joy in it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine you were to start out doing something and then already being like super professional and just completing like the last level. That
Mm.
would be so boring. Like, you have to
Yeah.
enjoy the process, isn't it? Just grow with the business.
And it's nice to
Yes.
see your journey, like where you started off and where you are now, and then just imagining where you'll be like by next year and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
is good. And also I think everyone enjoys seeing your journey with you as well, because people would have seen you
that's
from the
true.
beginning, and then they're like, wow, like look at how her pictures were, or look at how her t-shirts were last year, and then this year it's like she's doing other stuff now. She's like doing t-shirts, and now she's doing this and she's doing that. So it's like cool to see that journey.
Yeah, exactly. You got those like YouTube followers being like, I was here from day one. You're like, okay, yeah, you were.
Like,
Here's
I
my
remember
job.
you when you were cool. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so
But it's
funny.
it's nice to know though. Even with myself, there's a few people that I follow on, whether it's YouTube or Instagram. I find that I get quite bored with some artists. I know it sounds bad, but there's some artists that I follow for a little while, and then it's something about it. Either what they're growing into is no longer appealing to me, or I've grown and I've changed as a person, and their art has maybe stayed the same, and I'm just like not on it anymore. But there are some people. There's like a handful of people that I find just so inspiring. And as time goes on and the things that they continue to post and put out there continues to inspire me. And then when I do look back at the original posts and the original things, I think like, oh wow, they've come so far as a person, and I love who they're growing into. So that's always inspiring as well, to see that it's kind of like in our control, and our choice as to who we become, right? So you choose to grow. And yeah, I just think it's such a nice thought to know that who I am in 10 years is going to be my choice. This interview has been nice. It's inspired me as well to think like, oh, don't give up. It's okay.
I think it's important. I think it's important to hear, because it does get to points where you kind of don't feel as inspired, or what's the word? You can get into like a creative rut, and it just takes like one person to be like, you're really good, or like, do you know what I mean? Just little things, like it's not even anything crazy, or just someone to like leave a nice comment under your photo, and it's like, oh, like people still appreciate me, like you're not just putting loads of effort for no reason. Like people actually do enjoy and like appreciate it. So yeah, it's good.
So true. There's been so many times where I've said that I don't care what people think. I don't care what people think, especially after I left school, because I know when I was in school at the age of like 16, the pressure of your peers is a real thing, man. But once I left school, a few years of just surrounding myself by things I love, with people I love, and not feeling that pressure of like feeling judged, or it feels really nice. So yeah, I got to the point where I was feeling so sure of myself, and I'm like, no, I don't care what people think. I'm going to put this out there, and if you don't like it, then don't look. But I'm not gonna lie, yeah, when I first posted the first when I created the account and was just the simple coming soon, my palms were so sweaty. I just thought, this is insane as to how much pressure, because putting your art out there, whether it's photography, whether it's t-shirts, videos, music, it's like putting a bit of yourself out into the public. It's the vulnerability is just so insane. And then yeah, for people to judge it or say things negative, even constructive criticism can be a bit like it's fine. But yeah, it's important to just understand that I'm here to grow, I'm here to be better, and it's all good.
It's so true. And the thing is, like, we all need to listen to constructive criticism. We all need to hear it. But like you said, it is hard, like, because it's like your baby. Like, you put so much time and effort, and you put your vulnerability like out there to show your work. And then, but obviously, I think if it's the right person, and if it's someone that you trust, and you know they've got good intentions for you and stuff, and that you know, so if they give you that good advice or like stuff like that, then it's still harder, but it's easier to be like, okay, like, let me change this or that, or take this into consideration. But I think it's necessary for us to grow. So if we didn't have that sort of feedback, we wouldn't be able to move forward. We'll just be stuck in our ways and think we're perfect.
Yeah, no, exactly. If it's coming from a person that you know has your best interest at heart, and you really trust them, then it's fine. As much as it hurts, it's fine. It's okay. You take it and you move on and you grow, definitely. Yeah, but honestly, like you said, you call it your baby. It's like, this is my art, this is me.
Hello, friend.